Welcome back to the Talking Hedge. I'm Josh Kincaid, capital markets analyst and host of your Cannabis Business Podcast. And we are live. All right, welcome back to the Talking Hedge. I'm Josh Kincaid, capital markets analyst and host of your Cannabis Business Podcast. Today with us, special guest, we got Luke. He is with Let's Talk Cannabis, as well as being a podcast host. You're also a consultant, some other things. So tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got involved.
Yeah, so thanks for having me on, by the way.
Yeah.
Appreciate it a lot. So I started out in medical in high school, and then been involved with cannabis for quite some time, and then went to college for a little bit, dropped out because I hate the modern education system. Ended up finding an opportunity in the recreational cannabis industry. Started out in marketing and branding. And then started to expand into like media production, education, consulting, a lot of different things. Everything except the growing side. I'm not well versed at all when it comes to the cultivation side. But yeah, a whole lot of different things though.
So you've got a podcast channel, right? You want to kind of get into that right now, like what happened?
Yeah. So we were just talking briefly before we went on, but got my first community guidelines strike. You can get like a copyright strike, or it's a strike really. So you get a warning and then a strike, and then second, and then a third, and then third, everything is terminated, which is terrifying because I've literally put so much time into it this year. Like I've literally have like 680 videos, and like those could all go bye-bye. Obviously I have those backed up, but yeah. So, and then I just found out news too that, last night that Cannabis Legalization News, the YouTube channel, they got the same thing happen to them. So now we both of our channels we can't access them for a week. I peeled it. And then I'll go into what they were saying broke the community guidelines here in a sec. But I'm appealing it. Hopefully I hear back today. But it really doesn't make any sense to me. So the first warning I got about 4 or 5 days ago, it was for a link in a specific video, and it was to my website, which is lmc.news. The only thing on the website is one landing page, and it has 2 buttons. Sign up for the email list, right? So you just enter your email, and then watch. And watch takes you right back to YouTube, right? So I took the link off. I was really confused. I appealed it. Didn't really do a lot of research into it initially, how to appeal, which is kind of stupid of me. But that got denied. And then on the same video, I got yesterday, I got home from a meeting and I saw that, they said you now have your first strike, and it's from the same video. It was a video covering how Texas was trying to get rid of smokable hemp. But the second link, right, that they cited that was against the community guidelines was a link to overcast.fm, which is, I put all of my audio, all of the audio format for, my Let's Talk Cannabis LMC page on, Apple. I use Anchor, and then Anchor distributes it to Apple Podcasts, like a bunch of different podcasting network platforms. I really don't get why Overcast flagged it. And it's really confusing. It really makes no sense. And then if you I know you talked to Miggy today, Miggy from Cannabis Legalization News, and they had their video that got flagged was a video talking about literally was like social justice / social equity programs. And it was like with these 2 amazing African-American entrepreneurs, and it makes no sense at all. It just seems very crazy to me, and it seems very, I don't know, it's really weird. So still figuring it out. Yeah, it's been definitely scary the last day for me, to be honest. But yeah.
And so are you allowed to have 3 strikes and then they completely shut down your channel?
They just terminate it. You have to restart.
Wow. So you have 1 week where you can't post anything, and that's 1 strike, and so you can only have 2 more accidents?
Pretty much. And that's why it's really, really bad to even get 1, right? That's why it's like you obviously want to avoid that. But the second time, right, for the second strike, you're going to get 90 days, right? And then third, they just completely do it. But, and I'm sure you know this too from when it comes to YouTube, YouTube really like requires consistency and like having at least a schedule and like consistently uploading. And like I upload every single day. Like I've literally I've uploaded a video for the last like 6 months straight. And because of this strike, I can't upload. So, now my views are dropping. I'm going to have to like climb all the way back up, make up all that ground, all of that momentum that I had. And it's really, I don't even get, like, you can't even talk to a human. Like it is very frustrating. It's a very, like, and everyone that's been talking about like all of the censorship and all the stuff that's going on YouTube, I get it now 100%. It's, I mean, I've always gotten that, but like specifically with like, getting deplatformed potentially, all that stuff. It's scary stuff, to be honest.
I just had a thumbnail get taken down, and the thumbnail was a picture of myself. So when you say it's frustrating, that's an understatement, because you're not really sure why it got taken down, because there's no explanation. All they say is you failed the guidelines, but there's no they're not specific about it.
Yeah.
And so it's an issue, because how do you move forward when you don't know what you did wrong, and now all of a sudden you're super cautious about it, and that's going to probably affect you one way or another. It's just weird. Like all of a sudden, a lot of people are getting nailed for one thing or another, but there's really no understanding of why. And so hopefully there'll be another platform that's just sort of open. YouTube was like that a while ago. They had growers and stuff in 2011. They weren't getting shut down. So once the proliferation of cannabis came, that's when they started kind of really cracking down on it, is when it became a platform, the go-to. And even Vimeo canceled me because they said I was commercial. They basically extorted me and said, hey, it looks like you got a commercial account. You should pay us or we're going to delete you. And I had several hundred videos up because I wanted an alternative to YouTube if that got taken down. So now I'm using obscure platforms like BitChute, DTube, WeedTube, whatever, because you need multiple platforms in this very situation.
Absolutely. I have been thinking about that since yesterday, since I got this strike. I mean, I've always known, you want to, what's it called? Diversify, right? Your investment when it comes into like time distributing the content. But, I personally, at this point, I mean, it's not at this point, but in the future, I think we all, I mean, first of all, too, I would be a little careful because I think they're connecting our whole little group and we're all kind of, networked together. So I'm a little bit, worried potential. I don't know. I have no idea. But if it's weird that CLN, Cannabis Legalization News, and me at the same time, very like they did it 3 days ago, they got it. And so I don't know, but I think, I mean, I want to just get my own servers and have absolutely no one. And it just shows us that like today, these social media platforms, these internet titans, there's no regulation on, like, I mean, there is regulation. There's like the bare minimum regulation, enough to make it, they'll do whatever the government says, obviously, but there's no antitrust coming in down the pipeline. Not to say that like I'm a big antitrust, breaking up, but like Google, right? Google literally, I heard Peter Thiel talk about this like a couple of years ago. Google is a utility at this point. They don't innovate anything. They don't like what do they innovate? Like, and that's the whole thing, like basis to make you utility is you don't innovate and you're just, it's a common, like necessity, right? And I mean, not to say like all companies be like that, but like it's just going to get worse and worse, this problem. And it's not just for cannabis, folks, but it's for a lot of different, people. And it's, yeah.
I think with the consolidation that's about to occur, the capitulation or forced consolidation, look at AMC theaters are shutting down, and also another theater that's in the US and the UK shutting down. That kind of consolidation or eventual consolidation, forced capitulation is going to happen in this industry too. Look at Twitter, look at Instagram. Instagram's owned by Facebook, and then you try to go to Twitter, but nope, and that was the whole point of Twitter, was for countries to be able to get information out as fast as possible about what's happening. And when you suppress that in areas of Iran or Syria or the US or whatever, what's the point of your platform at this point? You've lost all relevancy. So I don't know where people are going to go. It's probably going to get more and more obscure. But there needs to be more freedom of speech.
And it's this it's honestly this messed up time where there's just these two sides, right? There's freedom of speech, right? And then there's, being politically correct or being, I'm not trying to get super political here, but I'm pretty far left leaning. But like, I do think that like there are pressures from society that it can be, like canceling people and stuff when it's just all these different things. Yeah, and I just lost my train of thought right there. Bam. Um, give me a jump starter right here.
Well, we're going to be talking about cannabis. What are some of the topics that you wanted to talk about but can't talk about this week because you're shut down? Eventually, we're going to get into a couple of topics about this pandemic that's happening, avoiding the C word, but talking about one, what people are feeling in general, and two, what products are going to. So there's a Brightfield report I want to go to about pandemic shopping, and then we'll go into this other report about the physical and mental effects that people are having, which is basically the cause and creating kind of a gateway, if you will. This pandemic is creating more CBD opportunities and therefore more cannabis opportunities down the road. So what is it that you were going to be talking about this week?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, no, so a couple of my viewers, they've been bringing up to me about, be careful about, and I thought this would be really interesting to discuss with you specifically, is some people are little bit worried in the future. Like we were just talking about consolidation, about these American MSOs, right? They're doing great right now. A lot of them, not all of them, but they're doing better than Canada, at least in terms of on average. But these American MSOs potentially consolidating too quickly and then potentially getting broken up. I thought that was a fascinating idea. Like they can't consolidate too quickly. Like we've heard about some acquisitions, right? With like True Leave and Green Thumb Industries coming together. And I just thought that's fascinating because I think full legalization is not necessarily like right away. Like right now, if we were to do full legalization, I think that would be pretty terrible for small business owners. I'm a very, pro small business for sure. But it's this kind of game of them tiptoeing around full consolidation. Like they have these deals set up in the future, but they're gonna, walk the line, carefully on that potentially. And I thought that was a fascinating topic.
There's some ballots on November, right? So I think New Jersey is on there, and New Mexico might go recreational, and so those are some pretty good opportunities. But I think it's funny that the majority of them want to do it because of budget deficits, not to like save the children or whatever. It's not for health; it's for money.
Oh yeah, always about money. Always about money. It's when in doubt. I mean, there could be a good reason that it helps, but it's about the dollars. I mean, Pennsylvania, they've got a $3.4 billion deficit or something, and putting in legalization, I think would take like 500 million right away off that deficit yearly or so. That estimates. And now you see the governor and the lieutenant governor. Governor Wolf and then Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman, I want to say. But they're literally like every single week they're doing at least two different speeches about how we need to legalize cannabis. So they're going really hard there. And so New Jersey, that's a huge one. I think another topic I definitely wanted to bring up too, that one of my viewers brought up to me too, is how valuable the Midatlantic region is, those states like Pennsylvania, Virginia, West Virginia, New York, it's like 42 million like potential buyers with some of the highest average, I think 46 out of the 100 highest median income earners in terms of counties are in that region. So a lot of money, a lot of people. And I think that's super fascinating too. And we're starting to see, True Leave go into Pennsylvania and other places.
It's an interesting market, Pennsylvania. I get a lot of calls for hemp pre-rolls. So people are looking for commercial automated pre-roll machines, and I've been tracking that market for half a decade or more. And so with the now half dozen machines that are available for anywhere from 85,000 to 400,000, people are looking for them. In Pennsylvania, out of nowhere, like Amish country is kind of my thought of Pennsylvania,
Yeah.
but maybe it's going to be a production hub for hemp, or the pre-roll market, or maybe they'll come out of nowhere with medical. But I'm definitely getting a lot of calls, and it was interesting.
Yeah, Pennsylvania, I didn't really realize how, I guess, well, first of all, Pennsylvania is incredibly important for the presidential election, obviously. But like, pretty big population. I think it's like 18 million people, or 12 million. Um, 12 million people, I think, around there. And then, but the medical industry there, and I have some friends that are there. Medical industry is crazy, crazy, crazy popular there. I have a lot of Pennsylvania folk that have tapped in with me because they've seen a few different Pennsylvania videos that I've done. Yeah, I think that's fascinating too. I also think, like, for like, out of all, like what do you think the most important, and not to say, like, there is, honestly, from terms of like, so like, out of all the 5 states that are supposed to potentially be legalizing in November, like, what's the most important, do you think, in terms of like overall effect? I think New Jersey.
Remind me, do you know what the other 3 are? So New Jersey and New
Yeah, New
Mexico.
Jersey, Montana, South Dakota is going to do both at the same time. Only state to ever do that, recreational and medical at the same time.
Hmm.
Then we also have, what else do we have? There's a couple other, Missouri for medical, Arizona for recreational. They have medical there for recreational. What else is there? Montana, I think I already said that. I know I'm missing one. Then I said New Jersey. Yeah, there's one I'm missing for sure, but
I'll answer your question, but I'll answer it in a different way first, and say that maybe the most important state, or most important area, is DC. And it's for kind of the same reasons that it's important to have cannabis cafes. It's a window into the soul of the community to have a cafe. To normalize it means to showcase how people can handle it. And when you don't allow it, when you say go drink on the streets, you get this Mardi Gras effect. If you put people in a bar, oh, then it's civilized. And so to have kind of that normalization occur, you need a cafe. And the same thing goes with federal legalization and acceptance. You need it in their face. If DC doesn't have rec shops, what's the point? So yeah, they've had, I think, a regulated marketplace for several years, but nowhere to buy it. So it's very much like Amsterdam, where it just shows up into the shop magically. And you're not allowed to cultivate and sell it to the shop, but the shop can sell it to the consumers. So you need a little bit of magic in between in order to make that happen. And we need some magic for DC to see that this is a commodity, and that it isn't a thing where after you smoke cannabis, you're going to shove a trombone in someone's ass and play it. Those are memes. Those are crazy, really old school philosophies of cannabis being a super aggressive drug. And once DC understands that it is a commodity and that it is all about money, they will start to allow that recreation to occur. And when that happens, and all of these delegates from the UN and everywhere else can see it, boom. And I think the World Health Organization, when they release their recommendation to reschedule and regulate cannabis worldwide, they're going to release that in December of this year, going to change everything. So the closest thing we have to that, I guess, is New Jersey. It's a big market. So I'm just kind of expecting some FOMO from New York to say, oh, damn, look, now that we have this head tax and we're forcing all these New Yorkers out, and Manhattan is an absolute ghost town anyway, New Yorkers already have FOMO from New Jersey, probably for the first time ever. I mean, I think that's what it's going to take.
that is actually that is a brilliant answer. Because you said the whole thing about New Jersey that I was going to say, but the first part about DC, I have not heard that. That is brilliant. I think you're absolutely right. I think that's a great point. Absolutely. That is outside the box. Yeah, no, I have not heard that at all. I've not heard
If
that.
you couple, if
Mhm.
you couple that with the idea that DC has the most medication sent for Alzheimer's,
Mhm.
it could be a new wave with CBD. Maybe and it's not going to overtake Alzheimer's. Like the damage is done. I'm just saying that there's opportunities for what is it? Patent number 6630507 as a neural protectant that helps with Alzheimer's, right?
Mhm.
So maybe if they pull their head out of their political ass, they'll be able to see that this is an actual medication and not just a psychoactive alternative to alcohol, that there are cannabinoids out there that will help them speak more clearly. I'm talking to you, Biden. Don't care what side of the aisle you're on. I'm not political. I
Yeah.
don't believe in a two-party system. I think that lobbyists are the only ones who win, and that essentially doing the same thing over and over again is insane. So I'm not saying not to vote. I'm just saying that if you're not a delegate, your vote literally doesn't count. Argue me in the comments. I want to know.
Please, please, please. You're speaking true. Like yeah, I mean,
Tell Bernie Sanders that his vote counts, because when every single 50 counties of his home state voted for him, and yet every single delegate voted for Hillary Clinton, you're going to tell me that your vote counted? It doesn't. The delegates didn't even have a say in it. The DNC told the delegates how to vote. And when Washington State had a delegate vote for Trump, holy cow, they threatened him with jail time and legal and everything else. I don't think he went to jail. He voted how he wanted to. But you think you're going to do that over in Vermont or whatever, closer to DC? Nope.
no, absolutely, absolutely. And they changed the rules a little bit, but like, yeah, it's a two-party system. I hate them both. For literally, I mean, in my like this is like walking through kind of something that I've been thinking about. And I know I've definitely got a lot of shit for this, even though I still don't really get why. This is we're in Washington State, right? It's a winner take all state, right? I know Biden's gonna win it, so why not me just vote third party? Allow my one, my small number, my one, number, my one vote, add to the pool of third party, and let that start to grow. Because in the future, the more pull in third party, right, in whatever third party it is, the more that the mainstream is going to have to pay attention, right? The more that they're going to have to now, that some people disagree with that, but it's like, if my vote literally does not matter when coming from like a registered Democrat, right? In Washington.
Especially in Washington State, like the West Coast, or at least the Northwest, it's already
So
decided for the most part. They don't need the delegates. They never need your vote or my vote, but they really don't need the delegates at that point. And I'll disagree with you about the two-party system. It is a one-party system owned
Yeah.
by lobbyists. And
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with the one-party system, 100%.
they're the only ones who win out of this whole thing over and over and over again. And it doesn't matter because you don't have the money to compete.
Absolutely. No, I mean,
And so I haven't voted since I wanted hope and change. And I realized that my vote went towards nothing as soon as Obama got his Nobel Peace Prize, before he even got the president. And that was a red flag to me, like, what the hell? And then he dumped more bombs than anybody else before him.
and then Citibank wrote his, picked
80% of his cabinet was written by one dude from Citibank.
It's disgusting. I have two posters of Obama. How old was I when in 2008? What, I was like 13 or something, and like 14. And I loved Obama. And then, I get older. The older I get, the more educated I get. You realize, regardless, every single president since, it goes back to, it really goes back to like Eisenhower with like the military industrial complex. It's Wall Street and intelligence services. Then they have their lobbyists, and they control both sides, like you're saying. And the money flowing into the Capitol is just tearing us apart.
Yeah, I don't think after this election it's going to matter. The people got $6 a day, and the banks got trillions. And
biggest transfer of wealth. Yep.
When you print trillions of dollars and you give us $6 a day, like we're a dog in an alleyway, and we're some kind of charity or something. It's obvious they don't care. It's blatantly obvious. And it really doesn't matter what puppet you put in place. I don't think it's going to change until we make it change. So I haven't voted since the first since the first Obama election. I won't be voting this time because I'm not a delegate, and I'm boycotting. If we do the same thing over and over again, and you vote over and over expecting a different result, that's insanity. Until we boycott the entire system and say it's over, I want it to change, we all have to stop voting. Because A, you're not a delegate and your vote doesn't matter. And B, they don't give a shit about you. So let's boycott and say, I'm not going to play your game. By voting, you're telling them, yeah, keep on doing your thing. Keep on taking those trillions and trillions. The Pentagon is up to $22 trillion missing. And people are saying, oh, Trump not paying his taxes is not patriotic. Do you know what America was built on? It wasn't built on paying taxes. And guess what? We don't need to pay federal taxes. The state can pave all the roads they want with the money that we pay the state. The feds lose our money to the tune of $22 trillion for one department. You don't need my tax money. It's not patriotic. It's not what this country was built on. And I'm going to boycott by not voting until the government figures it out that we don't give a shit about them anymore.
Well said. Well said. I mean, it's that, and then you're starting to hear some billionaires start to talk about, we need to figure out this massive inequality because the guillotines are coming in a couple decades. Like they will. I mean, this is
they've already come.
They already have. Yeah.
Didn't they roll them up in Canada, or was that Portland?
It was outside of Jeff Bezos' house. They made a small little one in DC. It was this happened like 3 weeks ago, and the ruling class, the donor class, the 1% to 2%, that pretty much they're the only class that the politicians listen to, even though they should be listening to us. These people are, first of all, they're in a bubble. They don't know what being a regular person is. They're megalomaniacs. There are a few good ones out there, but once you're, I think you can go into a system and enough years can wear you down and transform you into, it's the same thing you see with I guarantee you Barack Obama went into the, his first term being like, okay, I'm going to do all the donor stuff the first, term, and I'm going to do this, but the second term, I'm going to make that change. Okay. You get to the second term. It's just, he's so worn out. He's just been, you get chewed up by DC and spit out, and you're a whole different person. You're a neoliberal corporatist, and it's disgusting. And it is Obama. Honestly, people love Obama, and I get it. And I'm. It's just, if you really look at his policies, I mean, who do you think? Okay, Trump threw kids in cages. Who made the cages? Obama did, right? Who and I'm not here trying to defend Trump here. It's just we both obviously know this. This is a one party system that has the illusion of choice between two, since Hillary was supposed to be in Obama's spot, but since Reagan, it's been Reagan, right? And then I guess we went Carter, right?
Oh shit!
No, Reagan.
No. No, it was Reagan, and then he did 8 years, and then Bush, who was his vice.
Exactly. So Reagan, right, and then Reagan starting all of that, that intelligence crap that
And by the way, Reagan only got the presidency because the U.S. government made a deal with Iran to withhold hostages so that Carter couldn't get reelected. And then when Reagan got reelected, they gave him the hostages right away. So that was political theater, and that was actually treasonous to what they did.
No, absolutely. And the stuff that because Reagan and then his CIA head, right? That's Bush, right? And Bush ran all of the Iran-Contra, right? And then where was all that that nose powder going into the states? What state was that? Oh, it was going into Arkansas. Who was the governor of Arkansas? Mm-hmm. Bill Clinton, right? And how was it that we have a son or a father, H.W. Bush, and then go to Bill Clinton, then go to George W., and it was supposed to be Hillary on the other side of that. Mm-hmm. And because Barack Obama was such a good
that took a lot to happen, right? JFK had to get murdered first, and so it's JFK met with Hillary Clinton, and that very evening his plane exploded. JFK Jr. told Hillary, there's no room for two of us, and I'm running, and you're not going to win. His plane exploded. All of a sudden,
Ted, is this Ted or who? Not Ted. The junior, the son.
John F. Kennedy Jr.
Okay, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, John F. Kennedy
no idea
Jr.
about this.
met with Hillary Clinton in '99, and his plane exploded that very night. And he told her that he was going to be running, and guess what? She won the Senate, and
And they have the intelligence community behind them because they have all of the whole thing with Epstein coming up. I mean, what it really did for me is open my eyes to the whole intelligence blackmailing, operations, right? And it's not like blackmailing like for them. For example, because I mean, it's been almost nearly proven that Bill Clinton was, first of all, really close to the CIA when he was the governor of Arkansas, but also that he was in on the smuggling. Like, he had a huge blow problem. His brother went to jail for blow. And
real quick, that movie, was it Made in America?
American Made. And that is the book that taught me all of this, actually. That is actually, I literally love that book.
So that scene where Tom Cruise is in handcuffs and he's surrounded by like 15 cops, and he's like, you guys should just let me out right now. I'll split the money with you if you let me out right now.
Yeah, or something.
And they all laughed like, you're not getting out of here. He's like, I'm walking out of here. The call that was made was to Bill Clinton. And Bill Clinton is the one who let him leave because he was the one orchestrating all of it. The Clinton body count is deep, runs really, really deep. The two kids who saw the whole thing with the Mina airfield, and they were put they were bound and put on the train tracks and ran over, but they were already killed. Their skulls were already crushed in before they were ran over by, and then now it's a conspiracy theory. Now we're just crazy talking about this.
No, we're not even though at this point. Like, it's funny. Like, I mean, yeah, like it sounds like that, but like honestly, there has been like, yeah. If anybody watching this, like, go read the book American Made. The book,
that's
great book specifically, but it talks about all of these things that are coming up right now, like these pedophile rings, these blackmailing rings. I mean, so the thing with the Clintons, right, is they knew that the Clintons would do whatever for power. They already had technically dirt on them, right? Mm-hmm. So the intelligence, because the Clintons were going to do whatever Wall Street says, and Wall Street's attack dogs are the intelligence service, and it's all one big fucked up circle of neoliberalism and neoconservatism. I mean, they're both pretty much, I mean, they're all in one party though. You're speaking absolutely truth to me right now. 100%. I love that.
And I think Arkansas is one of those states that's going to go medical this year. I think they're on
they are medical. I think they are medical. Yes, I believe so, because because there's an activist talking to me there that like they're having some trouble with some of the black market people there. Because they're trying to, normalize. They're trying to, normalize it, clean it up a little bit in different ways, and they're pushing back. And so they were. I think I might be wrong though.
It's an interesting region from Tennessee, Arkansas, Louisiana. That whole kind of like middle part is interesting down to the Gulf Coast.
The Ozarks, right? Is that like the kind of the Ozarks area or no?
Yeah, I think that's going to be kind of an interesting little area right down in there with inexpensive labor, decent growing, but who knows what happens with all of the hurricanes or whatever the hell that's supposed to be.
That would, and True Leave and a couple other companies, but mainly Truly I'm aware of. They've been lobbying in Alabama. Georgia's been heavily lobbied by multiple different companies, but I know True Leave is starting to target that southern region, and then they're moving into the what's it called, the Midatlantic region. But I think that I think GTI will probably merge with them in the future. They just don't want to do it too early, I think, because it makes sense. I mean, because GTI needs Florida. That's where True Leave is. But no, I think you're right with the inexpensive, labor, all that. I think Texas is going to be.
Did you see that weed and Afria might merge? I saw some rumor about that. I'm not really sure that it meets Canopy Growth's investment criteria because they're kind of getting away from flower, and that's all that Afria does. But I think both of them are coming in with beverages, predominantly in maybe Colorado, trying to kind of stir up the game with that. So it'll be kind of interesting once they do come in with the billions of dollars that they're writing off. Aurora just wrote off $3 billion, like just wasted investment money. They're like, we don't need your money. It's gone to waste. The CEO spent that on some PR money.
Wait, so they turned down 3 billion, you said?
They had $3 billion and they had to write it off because their investments were worthless.
Good. I mean,
and that's after they've already written off $1 billion at least one other time. I mean, like, so when you get $1 billion, you're a unicorn. That's what investors drool over. And you just wrote off 3 unicorns like they were nothing.
I think they got the, you know, there's the resource curse and then there's the investment curse. I mean, I think they got injected with way too much capital early on, and then they built their infrastructure from inefficiency because they have the ability to waste. I think that they weren't ready for that capital, and that's why we see, I mean, almost all of the, to be honest, I do bash some of these Canadian. I mean, I do and I don't. Like, I'm just saying it straight up. Like, I like Afria. They're on the right direction. Canopy, you know, they're a little too big to fail almost, but they're doing well. They're moving in the right direction. Tilray, though, we talked about Tilray when we first talked a while ago. You know, all those companies. I like, you know, just the whole idea, and this is something that when I started to like do videos on investing, this is kind of the main topic that I really attacked initially, was this whole idea of like cool, like people would like, you know, get so happy and cheer about, you know, getting like a $10 billion investment, let's say, but that's an investment. That's not profit. And we're so like caught up in these evaluations that are just like crazy. And it's like, show me some old school profit, because long term, that's what I want to see. Unless you have a massive amount of, you know, cash flow and good high revenue, and you're reinvesting and you know, for example, like one company I really like in Canada is, I like a company called Delta 9, because they're, I don't know if you've heard of them, but they're like a upper medium sized cannabis company, I think, but they've got like 5-6 different revenue streams, all different areas. They're profitable. They've been consistently profitable. You know, this, you know, you don't want to burn out too quickly, right? I'm not saying it's necessarily the tortoise and the hare, but steady growth that, you know, I think like a company like Delta 9, because they have built their infrastructure, their initial, you know, their initial business off of efficiency and, you know, trying to actually make profit, not taking in exorbitant amounts of investment. That's what builds a good company, not a company that gets, you know, $100 million to waste. I mean, the whole saying is like, you know, people are going to waste if they can.
Absolutely. My favorite company up there is Alliance Growers. AGC is the ticker symbol, but I'm also on the board of directors, so I'm going to be a little bit biased.
Okay, I don't know if I've heard of them. I think I have, but
they're really small. Yeah, they're about to blow up though, because they're working with our group as of recently called Taboo. So we're taking over because they're not able to handle it right now. So be on the lookout for AGC on the up, on the come up. Yeah, if I can say that as a board of director member, I don't know.
Conflict of interest, no, 100%. That's what. So how I did not know that. So how has it been? Like, you know, I haven't really talked to. I mean, I've talked to a couple. You know, I talked to Canadian folks, but being on the board of directors of a cannabis company up in Canada, how, you know, what have you seen, like, in terms of like your frustrations and things that you like, or?
You know, the slow rollout of the 2.0 products was to be expected. Some of the interference with Vancouver, BC has been interesting. I will say that my conspiracy theory, will just say, to ward off the lawyers, is the Hells Angels have a massive lockdown. So I went to college up in Bellingham. You did too. We both went to Western Washington University at different times. And I could tell you, and maybe you can confirm, the BC bud and the Alaskan weed that comes through the Peace Arch.
Hey, Josh, really quick. Miggy actually just texted me and he said that I'm not popping up. It's just you. So I think, sorry. Yeah. He just texted me that.
Thanks, Miggy.
Miggy, my God. I did this with Tom, and this is like, it's one step down from just not recording like we were talking about the other day.
So I think what we could do is move on to segment 2
Mhm.
at this point, and we can maybe try and figure out this stream so that we can get your pretty face on there instead of just my mug. With that, we're going to roll this one up. I'm Josh Kincaid. This is the Talking Hedge. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, or don't, and I'm out.